Hey guys, welcome to the Centre Bounce. Wish I could be speaking about this game in a much more happier light, but look, sometimes you just gotta face reality, face the facts, and look at things as objectively as you can. Winning is obviously very difficult. Winning is it's not something that you can be guaranteed. You have to work hard for it. You have to have things go your way. You need a bit of luck as well. But all in all, most in just about most cases in the AFL, the better team is the one that wins. And I think that's what we saw on Tuesday, on Anzac Day between Essendon and Collingwood. What an amazing game it was. Again, the momentous occasion is not lost on us. Um, and it was a great match. Everyone came up to watch, record-breaking crowd, second biggest crowd in the history of the AFL in terms of home and away games. It was, you know, both teams came out to play. Just one was able to play for a lot longer. And so this is my take on how that game went. And I'll be referring to the stats on the AFL website. 13-12-90. The Magpies defeat Essendon 11-11-77. So it was 25 scoring shots to 22. So they had 3 more scoring shots than we did. But going into three-quarter time, we were up by 28 points. We only scored 3 points in that last quarter. And they pulled on 7 goals. So it was 7 unanswered goals. It was a very, very tough watch in the end. They outscored their first 3 quarters in the last quarter alone. And you knew it was going to come. I think everybody and their mum knew it was going to come. The problem was, how do we stop it? But I still thought up until three-quarter time when we were up by 28 points, I think that margin actually flattered us. I didn't think we were a 5-goal better side than Collingwood on the day. I just got to be honest with you. We certainly were playing well and had decent structure, but when we would go forward, if it wasn't Langford being involved, it really wasn't very dangerous looking. He was without a doubt our most likely target for going forward. And Collingwood just seemed to have different avenues that they were able to start from the back line. And when you look at, and then the last quarter, they all started straight from the guts. When our midfield was absolutely destroyed. But you look at the stats, disposals, they almost beat us by 70. Kicks, they had a lot more kicks. Closer handballs, but they had more kicks, which means they were gaining territory, gaining ground with each of their disposals more than we were. 64 inside 50s to 45. That's a discrepancy. And a lot of it came in that last quarter. Disposal efficiency, they were cleaner. Efficiency inside 50 is where we had them, with 51%. And obviously the free kicks. This is something that we never see as Essendon supporters. It was, of course, it had to be in the week, in a game where we actually had the run of the Greenwood umpires and we still couldn't get it done. That's also another thing that makes you feel sad about it. Hitouts. The ruckman. We took advantage that they didn't have the rucks. But look at the clearances. They actually came out ahead. Look at the center clearances. They came out ahead. So we weren't able to capitalize on us having ruckman and them not. And going into this game, everyone was talking about the Phillips-Draper combination and how vital it was to us beating Melbourne last week. And it was. It was very important because they were going head-to-head with a ruckman in Grundy, who is very poor defensively. But in this game, where Collingwood are better than us, as were Melbourne, but against Melbourne, it was good that the rain started to come. Ironically enough, normally Essendon are not great in the wet, but having that extra big bodies and having both Phillips and Draper were able to get things moving our way and make it 5 goals together. That did not happen against Collingwood. Collingwood were able to neutralise their advantage in the stoppages, and they were able to shark the ball. Draper, probably one of the biggest things holding Draper back, even from a Supercoach perspective, is that his hitouts keep getting sharked. And then it sort of, again, brings back the massive omission from the side by losing Zach Merritt to that suspension. Yes, I know Collingwood lost Taylor Adams, but what Taylor Adams brings to Collingwood compared to what Zach Merritt brings to Essendon, it pales in comparison by a lot. And Collingwood regained Jordan De Goey. So yes, they might have lost Adams, but they regained De Goey. Whereas we lost Merritt, who's our skipper, our captain, our best mid, our best ball user, going inside 50. And it showed. Many times during the game, we were missing that class that we needed to hit a target. Too often, we had high, long bombs that were never to our forwards' advantage. And guys like Rusco, playing his first game for the season, was able to lap that up. Darcy Moore had a terrific, terrific game with his intercepts and repelling multiple attacks. And we can see we had more turnovers in the game than they did. And they over 20 more contested possessions, and a lot of it came in that last quarter. Possession, they had more of the ball. In the last quarter, they had 56% possession to our 25. In the last 10 minutes, they had 47% to our 16. It just goes to show that we did not have the legs to keep going anymore. That is pure, plain simple. When you have such a disparity, even Brad Scott admitted that, yes, we looked like that. We ran out of petrol, and they went and stopped at a petrol station. Marks, this was not meant to happen. We were meant to outmark them. We were meant to take advantage of the extra ruckman of both Phillips and Draper, who were both taking a lot of marks last week against Melbourne, even in the wet. Didn't happen this week. Marks inside 50, they basically doubled us. So, scoring, they had 13 for the goal, 13 goals, we had 11, 12, 11. Time in front, we were in for most of the game. You know what I mean? Tackles, yes, we out-tackled them. But we had to out-tackle them because they had the ball more. I always find it a massive indictment on a team if you had less of the ball and less tackles. The boys clearly came to play. The boys clearly came with effort, with desire in order to win, and they did not slack defensively. The problem is they had 9 bounces, we had 5. They were taking the game on more. 1%ers, 50 to 41. They were playing slightly better team football, tapping the ball to each other and things like that. I think the big difference between these two teams on the day was the maturity, the leadership of the Collingwood skipper, the ex-skipper. Crisp, he played his role. I wouldn't say he was instrumental. Nick Dacos obviously got the plaudits for that game. Obviously, it's very hard not to, with 2 goals and 40 disposals. Like, come on, son. You know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. With 93% time on ground. But there were other players for Collingwood who continuously stand up, and they deserve a lot of credit for this win. People that I would actually would have preferred see get the medal over a guy like Dacos. And one of them, someone who it almost looked like he was a walking banana peel. We refused to touch this man. Scott Pendlebury. Scott Pendlebury, such a class gun, unbelievable. Like, all the words can't be used to describe him. And a young man in Nick Dacos, not only is he blessed with genetics, he's also blessed to be playing at a team with this guy. tutoring him. You know what I mean? Like, unbelievable. He was such a gun, and he was absolutely killing us if not for him having to get off the ground with his poked eye and the bleeding nose, which he caught from Sammy Durham accidentally. He was torching us. Another guy who was torching us was Steel Sidebottom. Steel Sidebottom always seems to absolutely rise to the occasion against us. Collingwood just seems to know we can't let these guys win. And Steel Sidebottom was so influential, and he would win a lot of one-on-ones as well. Yeah, there were a couple of times where he fumbled and went out of bounds, but as the game progressed, he was a constant thorn in our sides. 30 disposals and a goal, 11 handballs. He had 7 marks and 5 tackles. You know what I mean? Like, these are great numbers that he had with 3 goal assists. So not only did he kick a goal, he had 3 goal assists of his own. So a massive shout out to Steel Sidebottom. And when you compare the experienced heads at Collingwood compared to the experienced heads at Essendon, you can see that there's a major difference between them. You've got players who are playing for Collingwood who are around for that for their premiership tilt, who won the flag together. You've got guys who have been in the system for many years. They have a much more seasoned, experienced outfit, and they didn't have any passengers. You scroll down this list and you tell me which of these Collingwood players had a bad game. You know what I mean? Crisp, serviceable as usual. The Dacos brothers, guns. The Goey came back seamlessly. Jamie Elliott probably had a quieter game compared to his usual standards, but he still had a couple of goal assists and 6 marks with 11 disposals. Franton was huge. Ginnivan, he had his couple of goals and that really big one in the last quarter. Bobby Hill, X Factor, doesn't need a lot of the ball in order to get things going their way. Will Hoskin-Elliott, again, serviceable. I wouldn't say he had a bad game, but I will not forget when I think of Will Hoskin-Elliott, I think of that diving spoil that he had on the wing, just to kill any sort of forward thrust that we were going to have. Ash Johnson, massive confidence player, just has that self-belief, and those goals that he kicked were huge. Will Kelly was the sub. He was all right. Kruger played some minutes, serviceable. At least he didn't lose to Phillips, which was huge. He played his role. Markov, 19 disposals for Markov. You know what I mean? With 5 marks. Very impressive stats. Maynard, the Bull. Yes, he had that one silly turnover kick which led to a Wiedemann goal. But you just looked at Collingwood and they all just laughed it off. They have this self-belief inside that even something like that, it's okay. We'll make up for it. I can't see Essendon with this young team do something like that in the face of a terrible mistake. And the way the game played out, eerily similar to last year. And that's just something that Collingwood has that a lot of teams don't have, and it's that self-belief, the desire to win above all else. I can't say, obviously it's disappointing and heartbreaking that we lost this game. But it's not that we lost this game out of lack of trying or that we choked. I honestly don't believe we choked this game. Collingwood are a better side. Even with their outs, we have our outs as well. We don't have Tumita Peter, who is our key target forward, our number 1 goal kicker and our best and fairest. And we didn't have Zach Merritt. So we didn't have our skipper, and we didn't have our reigning best and fairest winner. I understand Collingwood were missing, they were missing a lot as well. I'm not going to say no, but Collingwood is a better side in general. We need all the people that we can get in order to win. And we had the system in place. And for a lot of this game, we did really well to disrupt their ball movement. Collingwood loved the fast, quick overlap handball. But what I noticed, especially early on in the game, we almost invited them to move away from that style. We actually gave them ground. We gave them open targets down the field that they can simply pass to. But what ended up happening was this was almost like it was a bait selection. We were giving up these passes further up the ground so that we can try and get them on the counter attack and slingshot. And it worked for a lot of the game. We were certainly, obviously they had a couple of times where they were able to cut through the midfield, and they are really dangerous with great ball users in hand. But I got to say that the system that we came in with was successful. It showed a blueprint to other teams how you can go about trying to beat Collingwood. It's something that I hadn't seen before. It was actually very clever, very smart. I'm really happy with the way Brad Scott went about it. We had to make some changes with Laverde going down with injury. And Langford was our only real target. If we won this game, there's no doubt Langers was going to win the medal, I think. He was so important. He was huge for us. He was the only one that looked likely. 3 goals to go with 17 disposals and 7 marks with the goal assist. You know what I mean? Langford is such a vital player for us. One that we've missed for a long, long time due to injury. And he managed to play out the game with 92% time on ground. Could this finally be, under this new leadership in Brad Scott, where players only play when they are genuinely good to go? They're not rushed back into the team. They're playing the twos. Is this new leadership under Brad Scott going to finally see us get consistent Kyle Langford performances? Because if so, it's certainly going to hold us in good stead moving forward. The guy is a freak. The guy is a gun. And Wiedemann had a very decent showing also. So look, there were certainly upsides to this game. Unfortunately, we had some players who probably maybe might have been overawed by the occasion. Sam Durham probably played the worst game I've ever seen him play. He's normally a lot better than this. Hobbsy was the sub. First hit out in the seniors this year. What a time to come on. You know what I mean? Like, geez. Talk about throwing this kid in the deep end. McGrath had a few kicks that really were costly and turning the ball over, which led to goals. Darcy Parish started slow, built into the game, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to stem the tide in the last quarter. Phillips, massive, massive letdown, unfortunately. Four disposals, no marks. You know what I mean? No goals, no behinds. This is the big letdown. When you come in with an extra big man in perfect conditions and they give you this sort of output, it was going to put us on the back foot. We needed both him and Draper to fire in order to win, and that didn't happen. Redmond battled hard, Ridley battled hard, Setterfield started off hot, but he had to be taken and sent to the back line with the injury to Laverde. So he had to play a different role that he's never played before. And this mid-game shuffling under Brad, we could see that he was trying to make changes in order to fix things up. He ended up sending Setterfield back into the middle in the last quarter when Dacos was in there, DeGuy was in there more, Sidebottom was in there more. We discovered in this game the importance of what Geelong did under Chris Scott last year, having many people run through the midfield, sharing the load so that come into the game, your midfielders are able to run out the game better. We didn't have that. Our centre bounce attendances, most of the games tend to be very much focused around a key select group in centre bounces. And it continued. And that's sort of what ended up happening at the end of the game, us tiring, running out of gas. And you can see that these guys in the blue are the core guys you'd end up having a bit of McGrath and a bit of Setterfield, but it tends to be a core group that averages a certain amount, and then the rest sort of fall away. And so as a result, we end up in a situation where a lot is left on a few. And we have some young players like Menzies who don't have good games, who don't have people like Alwyn Davey Jr. coming to apply pressure. But apart from when the ball is in hand, what did they do with it? Not much. You compare this type of pressure player to a guy who I have so much respect for, someone who is a pressure player, but continues to do even more with the ball in hand and even without. And it's this dude. This guy is a gun. Bo McCreary is just a furious player. He's like a forward version of Maynard. Like it's unbelievable. And he's able to apply pressure, but do so much more with just that. 15 disposals, 10 kicks with 2 goals. You know what I mean? It's 6 marks, 303 meters gained. We just need to have our young players develop, and it seems that they are developing them the right way. We challenged the Pies. We beat Melbourne last week, and we have a big test coming up this week against Geelong. So all in all, I can't say I'm unhappy with the way Essendon are going this year. Massive, massive respect to Collingwood. What a juggernaut they are. We're not the first team, and we're definitely not the last team that's going to be overrun by this absolute machine that is the Collingwood Football Club. The question is, how long can you keep doing this? They clearly shown that they don't care. They can keep doing it as many times as they want because they have that hunger and they don't have that fear of losing. That belief is there. And they should be seen as the benchmark by everybody. Everyone should be able to look at these guys and be like, why can't we believe as well? Football, as is life, it's all a confidence game. And if you have the confidence to back yourself, even in Supercoach, if you have the confidence to back yourself, back your gut, back your system, your process, believe you're going to be fine, take the game on, take life on, things will happen for you. So I really hope that us at the Essendon Footy Club, we can learn from these guys and try and be better moving forward. So I know this is a bit of a different one. It is very Essendon focused, this one, because obviously I'm an Essendon man. It is what it is. But I do think I touched on it a bit with Collingwood, and I think I've paid enough respect to Collingwood. But guys, if you want me to also, look at other games, I do like to look at things objectively as much as I can. I know I love Essendon. I'm a diehard Essendon fan. But I can't love Essendon as much as I do if I don't love the game of football even more, I think. So if you guys have any games that you want me to review in this sort of style, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you like this sort of content, let us know. And I absolutely would love to give you more of what you guys want to see. We don't want to take time out of our days after work and stuff to post something that you guys just simply don't want to have a look at. So please let us know, interact with us as you guys have been doing so much up until this point. We love hearing from you guys and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye for now, guys.